Welcome to the Worthy Collective. This isn't just a community, it's a sacred space for your soul to breathe again. A place where women from every walk of life come to rise in their health, wealth, faith, purpose, and presence. Here, there's no hierarchy, no comparison, no pretending, only truth, only grace, only women remembering who they are together. We believe growth doesn't have one timeline or one look. Some days it's rising boldly, and other days it's resting bravely. Both are worthy, both are growth. You're not behind and you're not too late. You are right on time for your next becoming. In this space, you'll find encouragement, accountability, and sisterhood that reminds you you can build your dreams without burnout. You can walk in faith and not fear. You can create a life that feels as good on the inside as it looks on the outside. Welcome home to the Worthy Collective, where grace meets growth, purpose meets peace, and women rise side by side. And so this is a very sacred space. I had a dream and we are living that out and we're in growth mode. So we're so excited that you are here live with us with our beautiful faces on video. And then you may be catching this on the replay. And we wish you were here because we just had like 20 minutes of private conversation that you did not get to be a part of because you weren't live. So we're sorry about that. And we're not sorry because you get to choose when and how you want to join us. We always show up 15 minutes early and we visited a little bit longer today. So we have a very special message for you, and we hope this inspires you right where you are because there's something very important about being in a space, in a place that women will be different in the encouragement. And that's what we do is we encourage, we empower, we gather, we grow, and we inspire each other. So today's message is by moi. And can you see my screen okay?
It's processing,
Is
but
it?
not yet. Yep.
There it
Oh,
is.
yep. Yeah.
Yay. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so this beautiful message, let's see. I'm trying to see what's going to work out better here. Okay. The power of being seen. This one is something that I recognize in my business in serving. I have found that every week, every other week, it's usually every week, there's a theme. And the theme was recognition this past week. And what I've noticed is recognition can change people. When we recognize ourselves and others, we unlock our worth, purpose, and impact. So, what I want you, if you don't already know, I'm going to ask a number of questions. So, if you're watching this while driving, please be safe and then pause and come back to it with a journal or a notebook because I want to be able to ask the question, when was the last time someone truly saw you? Not your title, accomplishments, not what you've done for everyone else, but you. Because in this past week, we celebrated a family's friend's 75th birthday, a woman who handcrafted a meaningful gift, aka Sarah Zalewski, who made a special gift for one of our other mentors, Tracy Gore, and on purpose for being able to serve her and the inflammation she's battling with stress through her organic loose leaf tea. So special. A retired teacher beginning a new chapter, aka Martha, who is launching her Retired with Purpose on the July the 30th. A mentor stepping into her calling, which is Amor, who is out in Florida, referred by Tracy, who, oh my goodness, guys, she has so many great things coming. It is so exciting to witness. A woman launching a vision God placed in her heart, which was I interviewed Susan this past week, who was diagnosed with cancer, and she was in retirement and didn't have enough money to pay for all of her bills. So she started driving to the airport, people to the airport. And now she literally has a company and business that she designed accidentally to service people to and from the airport. So just something that you would never, ever imagine. that's possible. I went to an event where women pray over their kids and lots of invitations. And every conversation reminded me of one simple truth. People love to be seen, not for what they produce, not for what they accomplish, but who they are. Because the greatest gift we can give another person isn't advice. It isn't to fix them. It isn't networking, it's recognition. So, what I've learned this past week is in these incredible interviews, something kept happening. And it was the moment I stopped asking them what they did and started seeing who they were. Everything changed. People lit up, they smiled, some became emotional, others stood a little taller. And the reason would be because every one of us carries the same quiet desire to know that we matter, to know that we are valuable and that we were created on purpose. 1 minute. What part of yourself have you stopped recognizing? And these are things that I'm going to recommend that you write down because what we like to do is we like to talk about a lot of this in private because this is a sacred space. And so some of us will share openly, but there's some people who will come and just listen. They call in, they may not be ready to be on video, and some already have obligations on Mondays. So ask yourself, what part of yourself have you stopped recognizing? Because there's an identity shift. And you know, I love my shift. Most women are waiting for someone else to recognize them, someone that they were hoping would see what they're working on. They're waiting for permission, validation, an award, promotion, someone to say you're enough. But what if God has already said it? In Psalms 139 tells us that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Ephesians reminds us that God's workmanship created in Christ Jesus for good works. Our worth was never something we had to earn. It was something we were created with. Just like our fingerprint that I love to share. We are all made so beautifully unique. And it's reminded in our fingerprint. Sorry. So today's reminder, let go of the resistance, be open, trust. There is beauty and purpose in today. There is importance in today, not so much in what happens to us, but in how we respond. Let today happen. We learn our lessons, we work things out, and we change in simple fashion by living our life fully today. And what's so wild is Lori gave me this beautiful book, The Language of Letting Go. And what's so crazy about this is that part of my lesson today, when I was a little nervous and didn't have this prepared because Tracy was moving and we needed to shift, it was literally the message of July 20th was letting go of resistance. And how, I mean, I was like in tears, like just like how profound that that would show up today in a book that was written. I always love to look like it wasn't today. This book was published in 1990, like not even recently, you know, and how beautiful. And it says here, today, I will not run from myself, my circumstances, or my feelings. I will be open to myself, others, and higher power and life. I will trust that by facing today to the best of my ability, I will acquire the skills I need to face tomorrow. And I thought that was so beautiful in this space so that we can recognize that power that we have within us. And so that's where that comes in today's reminder. I thought, oh my goodness, how beautiful is that? Okay, so this is something, oops, hold on, let me go back. Okay, so in this reminder, what part of yourself have you stopped recognizing? Not what have you stopped doing, but what have you stopped recognizing? Your courage, your kindness, your wisdom, your resilience, your faith, your perseverance. I wonder how many miracles are sitting dormant because we're so focused on what we haven't done that we've forgotten who we've become. I think that's so important, how strong that question can be. And I'm going to put this in the chat so that you can really see some of these things that we are so silly about. I love that. That was something that Lori had said before. Sometimes instead of a negative, like you can just say, oh my gosh, that was so silly of me. So silly of me to miss out on the resilience and seeing those places and giving yourself such grace in that question. So when when we think about the possibilities here, this is what I absolutely love is here's some questions. 3 ways to recognize yourself. Recognize where you've grown. We're always measuring what's left, and sometimes we forget how far we've come. So being able to ask yourself, what might I have missed in the last month, in the last week? You can even go back 2 months, you can go back in the last 90 days. If you're really looking at how far you've come, and this is again, if you've worked with me, we talk about the prosperity chart. Your vision starts, the influence is the who, the third is the system or the plan, and then there's tracking. And sometimes we get, and we're just like back up to vision and we skip that point of like, wait a second, where's the tracking? Well, I might have failed here, here, and here. And then that led me to the success of here, here, and here. So recognizing how far you've come, and it was so beautiful and sweet. Stacy, one of our worthy mentors, who's a holistic practitioner, holistic wellness practitioner, and she was part of a wedding this last weekend in a big way. And she was challenged by the pebble. She was challenged by the walkway. She was the officiant. She, and all the things that you normally go to a wedding that's because it's so special. It's not every day, but she had such a big part in this and how differently she carried herself. And she was able to recognize that. And we got to talk about that before we hit record. So recognizing number 1 of how far you've come. Number 2, recognizing what God has already given you. What are your gifts? What are your experiences? Your story? Because nothing is wasted. Nothing you've walked through has been a waste, and God has been preparing you all along. I say it often, oh my goodness, there's a test, then there's the lesson, and then there's the refinement. So, but some people sit in the test and tell the story over and over and over, and they miss that there was a lesson there, and it happened for us, not to us, and that refinement is the greatest beauty there is. And last but not least, recognize someone else, because recognition multiplies. When you call greatness out in another person, they begin believing it's there. Sometimes the greatest gifts we can give another person is helping them see what God has always seen. So, what part of yourself have you stopped recognizing? In your courage, your kindness, your wisdom. And this is something I highly recommend being able to journal, take some time tonight or in the morning, and being able to really be specific about these areas. And because we forget how courageous we were. Like Stacy showed us her shoes, and all of us, I'm sure, were like, I'm not sure the last time I put on heels like that. That was courageous to purchase them, courageous to put them with the outfit, and then courageous to wear them and keep wearing them for more than a minute because they were different than the normal everyday. We know she wears tennis shoes because she puts in so many steps at work, you know? So that was courageous. It was courageous to purchase them, to wear them, and for every minute she stayed in them. We've all done that before where we're like, oh, they're so pretty. So being able to take out a piece of paper, and this is again something I'd recommend journaling. So if you were to take out a piece of paper and in 3 columns, I recognize about myself, in the first column to the left is what have I overlooked?
Hey Maggie, did you see Lori trying to get back in?
Oh, no, no. Sorry, sorry. Hold on. We lost her. I'm so glad you said it. No, I couldn't see the screen. Thanks for letting me know. Sorry, Lori. I didn't know we lost ya. So here's a reflection activity. Take out a piece of paper, and at the very top right, I recognize about myself. And on the left, what have I overlooked? In the middle, where have I grown? And in the last, what gift has God been developing in me? I'm going to put it in the chat, so if you missed that. I recognize about myself, what have I overlooked? What have I where have I grown? And what gift has God been developing in me? Now, this is really very significant. If you flip over the piece of paper, and the top would be, what about someone else? On the left-hand side, who needs to know they're seen? In the middle, what character quality can I call out? And the last one would be, who needs encouragement this week? And this is a great thing to ask yourself, because some women will come into this Worthy Collective as a mentor. They may be a business owner. They may be a stay-at-home mom. They may be retired. They may be a neighbor. And so there's something very unique about our intuition and having someone on our heart. I know I'm not the only person who will literally get like a flood of someone, and I literally have been acting on it. Hey, you crossed my heart. That's all I said, because you did. Came into my mind. I was with Laura this last weekend, my mom's best friend, and I was eating cherries, and I sent her a picture that my cherries did not taste anywhere near her cherries that we ate in the car. These were good, but hers were great. You know, like sending those messages. We have never had technology more than we have today accessible. Like back in the day, it was like snail mail. Snail mail is great. You know, I love that. If you know me, you know I love it. Yet there is nothing greater than a simple phone call, a text, and being able to let somebody know they crossed our heart. So here's some more journaling questions you can ask yourself. What God is inviting me into next? Where do you feel like you're being pulled? Where do you feel like that inner intuition, God within? And if you are challenged by your faith right now, we completely love and adore you right where you are. We've all been that place where we're walking in the sand and we are independent women and we think it's all us. And we don't realize sometimes that that's when God's scooping us up, or a girlfriend's coming alongside and saying, hey, it's okay. We got you. It's going to be okay because there's places to be stretched. So ask yourself, where am I being stretched? What do I need to believe right now, right here? Is that within myself, the situation? What are my beliefs? Like sometimes we get so silly and we get wrapped up into worry and anxiety, and that repeat of the story is really not, it's great. It's not really great, but we don't stop long enough to ask ourselves, what are we believing? And where are we meant to become something more? And if you know I'm the elephant in the room person to ask those questions, because the comfort zone is not a place to stay. It's really meant to be explored. And those opportunities to ask yourself, where are you being stretched? What do you believe? Where are you being called to become something more different, better, stronger, courageous? Recognition is one of the greatest forms of love. Again and again, this is what's so interesting to me is that, like, Jesus saw people in such a beautiful way before the situation changed. The woman at the well, he saw the disciples on their good days and their bad days. And the circumstances were able to change. And I believe that that's what we get reminded of, and that's what we get hope from. And I love that hope. Like these interviews that I do, and every time I see a woman talk about her story, it's so exciting. So here's an activity that you can really be able to ask yourself, what are you recognizing about yourself here, like right now on a Monday? Someone else in this room, and we call that our room or Zoom, our room in the place where you are. What are you being asked to and next? I know Martha is launching her Retired with Purpose, and it's asking her to have more courage and a new space and a place to do something new, better, different. And what's so neat, and part of my shift is focus, follow one course until successful. So you can focus today to be able to solve today's problems. Understand that it's asking and being able to find out what do you need. Like being here can solve that ache that you might feel lonely because you're home by yourself and you click Zoom or replay and you're like, oh, wait a second. It's more fun live. We tell you that. Yet being able to make time for yourself to learn and grow. Enjoy today's gifts, trust yourself, life, and your faith where it is. Mine's God. And then we get to choose to be the women who see and who recognize. When we see people, we help them become who God created them to be. And I think that that's so beautiful because when we think of the people who've really made a big difference in our lives, that has been so very significant. I know I can think of a couple of different teachers in my lifetime. My fourth grade teacher, Mrs. Claft, favorite teacher ever, such an impact on me. And I really think about how she recognized certain things within me, and I saw her recognize others, and it was the energy she brought to the room. And so that can be so, so beautiful. What I'm convinced of is one of the greatest human needs isn't simply to be loved. Being loved is important for sure. It's to be recognized, to have someone look beyond our mistakes, our titles, our achievements, our failures, and simply being able to say, I see you. Because being seen reminds us that we matter. And here's what I've learned. The world is full of people waiting to be recognized, and every one of us has the power to give that gift away. Recognition costs nothing, yet it can change everything. One conversation, one encouraging word, one moment of believing in someone before they believed in themselves. And when we think about our own life, we can remember a teacher, a friend, a coach, a parent, a mentor who saw something in us before we could see it within them, in ourselves. And how different would your life be if they hadn't? If you can imagine, what if you became the person for someone else? What if your words became the reason someone didn't quit? What if your encouragement became the reason someone finally started? And what if simply recognizing the gifts in another person unlocked a future that they couldn't yet see? That's what legacy is. Not because you've been built something great, but because you helped someone else believe that they could. And here's the truth: you can't consistently call greatness out of others if you refuse to believe God has already placed it within you. So before you leave tonight, deep breath. I hope you'll choose to make two decisions. First, recognize something in yourself that you've overlooked. Not out of pride, but because humility isn't thinking less of yourself. Humility is agreeing with God about who He created you to be. And second, before this week is over, recognize someone else. Don't compliment what they did, recognize who they are. Call out their courage, their faith, their kindness, their perseverance, their leadership, their generosity, because people often rise to the level of the identity that's spoken over them. Your words maybe become the confirmation they've been praying for.
Mm.
Your encouragement may become the turning point that they never forget. And years from now, they may never remember everything you said, yet they remember how you made them feel. They'll remember, she saw me. Isn't that exactly what Jesus did before he healed people, before he called disciples, before he transformed lives? He saw them, not for their past, not for their failure, but for God, who God created them to be. And my hopes, my prayer is that women, that my prayer and my hope is that women do the same. Women who don't compete, they don't compare, and they don't criticize, they recognize. Because when we recognize the image of God within ourselves, we recognize the image of God within others. We don't just change a conversation, we change lives, families, and generations. So go see someone this week, speak life into someone else, remind them of someone who they are. And before you do, look in the mirror, because when you finally recognize who you are and your gifts within yourself, everyone around you is given permission to grow. And the world doesn't need more people trying to impress others. It needs more women willing to recognize the greatness within. And that is a beautiful energy that we feel. And that's what we emulate here, because in the Worthy Collective, we are all made so beautifully and uniquely. And that's what makes the variety so much more fun. Is there anything that stood out that somebody wants to share before we stop the record?
No, but I have a story from this past weekend. There was a homeless woman that was standing by one of the bathrooms that Charles and I were getting ready to use. And I just, on our way out, I was just reminding her of her beauty and just how anything's possible. And I said, I see your light. I can feel your light. And she just started crying. So it was just a great reminder that we don't know people's story, but to lift them is so powerful. I kind of turned around and she got up and she was like, she left because she was sitting there. And
Wow.
so obviously, for her to get up and move was probably a big thing. So, just to see people and recognize that we're all one and the same, and to just how encouraging words can mean to someone, and let them know that you see their light.
That's beautiful, Lori.
Important. I mean, the world needs
Hmm.
it. We have the light, so
Absolutely.
we share our light, you know?
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's so special. You were talking earlier about it wasn't on video, it was before. About how you and let's see, you guys went to, I don't remember who's the concert. Who was it? What was
Oh,
his name?
Ken. His name is
Ken.
Ken, Kem.
And so you went to his concert,
Mhm.
and his story was he was homeless. So somewhere, somehow, he decided that was no longer acceptable. And I'm going to go look him up because I'd love to hear his story of what was it that shifted him because you never know. And I feel like I've been really so much better about dialing in my intuition when I walk by someone and I feel something, I say it. I don't hesitate because I don't know. Their prayer might have literally just been ignited, like, oh, whatever. And then you say, oh my goodness, and say what is on your heart. And I
That's
always
right.
grab their arm. And Lucy said to me the other day, why do you touch them? I said, because I want it to be meaningful. And I know my voice doesn't carry very well. So if I touch you, then it's more apparent. So I love that, Lori. How special. And you may never know, or you might meet her again, and you were the difference maker.
Yeah. Yeah, God uses us, so be open, like you said, be open to share with someone and to see someone because we all want to be seen.
Be open and be willing to take that
Mm-hmm.
extra step.
100%. And it changes us too, because I'm sure that moment you felt it, you said it, and then when you walked away, it was different because it was, it was impactful to her.
Well, yeah, I could feel it in my heart. Like I could feel, that nervousness that, when you say something and you leave, I could feel a spark. Like my
Yeah.
spark was lit just from lighting her spark.
Well, and it comes down to July 20th, letting go of resistance. What in the world would it do any harm? It will not do any harm if we genuinely compliment someone. We say
Hmm.
what's on our heart. Man, you look good. Like those genuine compliments are so beautiful. It can really, and that encouragement to let somebody know you see. Somebody said, so how or it's good to see you. And somebody, I don't remember who it is, if you guys know, it's so good to be seen.
That's right.
That's
Right.
good.
Isn't
And my
that,
grandfather used to say that. He used to say that all the time. I'm like, I'm saying that. It is
yeah,
good to be seen.
why not? It's so
It's a
That's
true.
right.
great way because you Ted told me that one time to respond that way, which is a fabulous way that we don't always know what's going on in people's lives, right? And so it's a great way that circumvents all the potholes that could like by saying something like how are you versus it's good to see you.
Hmm.
No matter what's going on in their life, that
Yes.
gets to the heart of the issue of it's good to see you and then
Yeah.
good to be seen regardless. So that's one thing that I remember about that statement was I often say that there's someone at my church and he's like, gosh, it's good to see you. He says that to everybody. And it's the way he says it with the enthusiasm and puts an arm around you. I mean, he's 6 feet tall, about as tall as Stacy was in those heels that she showed us. And so, and it's just always such a fabulous feeling to be seen in that way. And I want to mention, because you said recognize about someone in this room. And I just want to say when Stacy texted us pictures of her event this weekend, she popped out of the screen. And she even recognized it today. She said in our conversation before we hit record was how she felt good, she looked good. And when was the last time she was dressed up like that?
Yeah,
And she
that's
wasn't wearing
right.
black,
Hmm.
and she was taller than everybody else in the room. And we're like, your presence was very, we said your inner goddess was glowing.
Hmm.
And
It
that
is.
was, it was so evident. And it was like, even now you're stepping into this room with us. Your energy is very different from last week versus now. And I want to encourage you to keep doing that.
Hmm.
More of this. This has been my this has
Yeah.
been my new thing. More of this, please. More and more and more and more.
More, more,
Reminds me
more.
of my niece. That's
More
my
of
niece.
Yeah.
this.
She likes shoes.
Yes.
So look
Sign
at Jimmy,
language.
because she
Yes,
loves
more.
to eat.
Yes, more food. More food. Well, it's you're just going to continue to grow and expand. We can't go back to, you're choosing it, Stacy, and we're all choosing it to take one step at a time and making an impact on the world that needs us, that is requiring more love and light and being seen and recognizing others and being selfless.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I am down 6 pounds since we started
Wow.
walking because I was doing 10 easy at
Girl,
work, no problem. I've been trying to get between like 12 and 15 has been my
girl,
goal
you're killing
every
it.
day.
She
Well, I know
is.
myself too, but I'm getting it. Just because it was so
That's
hot in there last week, and this week I like walked in there today and I was like, okay, this I can deal with. That other stuff, like you just moved like this and you just felt sweat. And it was just,
Well, isn't it amazing how movement creates more life and
yes,
sheds us? Yeah,
yes,
it's
yes.
pretty amazing.
So good. And it's also goes back to the choice and the opportunity. And it's so funny because you guys, Stace, you were already walking because that was part of your job, and how different it is to be a part of an app to see that movement and like, hey, how can I choose to move today? And we get to ask ourselves that. How do I get to, we get to choose everywhere for everything, you know? And so my request is choose the time that you're going to save for yourself to journal tonight, tomorrow morning. Take the time in reflection and being able to ask yourself those simple questions. When was the last time someone truly saw you? Being able to really dial it in and the opportunity to sit with yourself. And you can do it outside, barefoot, tonight, tomorrow, because it's not winter, and do that for yourself. And if someone crosses your heart, not if, when they cross your heart, send them a little love note. Hey, you crossed my heart. Oh, then and that in and of itself is great. So,
Yep.
yep, so beautiful. So thank you, beautiful, worthy mentors and members and women and anyone who missed this. We're sad that you weren't with us, and what we're grateful that you took the time to listen. And hopefully, you will take the time and give yourself permission to journal and see what comes of it. Thank you, beautiful ladies. Have a great rest of
Thank
your night and
you.
week.
That was wonderful.
Thanks for your preparation.
Yes, definitely.
Quick pivot.
Yes, exactly. Parrot shift. We got our shift together.
We do have our